Welcome to Landria Anka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Having my coffee. All right, covering the microphone. Let's talk about darkness. Yes, it can be very uncomfortable. Yes, it can be frightening. Because we as humans have fear built in. It serves a purpose for us. Keeps us alive. I want you to understand that, and if you saw my video, everything is one thing. You are one thing. And that other thing is you too. Everything's just one thing. That means darkness is one thing. Now I did a video on this before, but I want to talk about this battle that I've heard a lot of you have against darkness. And I'm using the word darkness because darkness to me represents something that is not connected to its lighter self. It is light, but it's not connecting to the lighter self. So it's going into the darkness to experience that. Darkness loves to recruit darkness because it doesn't ultimately have power, not ultimately. It can only do damage here, basically, in the physical world or in other realms where things play out, scenarios play out as part of the game. So I want you to remember something. When you fear that, when you think it's something separate from you, here we go again. You're separating it. It's not. It's one energy experiencing that side. When you separate yourself from it and you think it's something you have to battle, so a lot of us will put a name on that. Certain cultures, certain religions, just maybe people that just think differently, people that, are really, really going to the dark side. When you separate yourself and you feel that you are the higher vibration that needs to oppose it, you're not the higher vibration. When you think you have to oppose anything, you are not on that frequency that you're claiming or believing that you are. Because that's ego. And the ultimate you opposes nothing. It doesn't have to. I'm not saying you're going to be a rug, and let everybody walk on you. But opposing means you feel that it's your mission to go after something, to be right, and that just continues to fuel the opposition. Right? I always say fight nothing. That darkness, by you going after it and thinking that you're all that and you're creating fear. It means that you're afraid of it and that you're actually creating an opening, and it will go after those weak openings that allow that energy, that dark energy in, because fear is a darker energy. So the very thing that you're afraid of is what's getting an opening to access you. I don't allow darkness in, but I bless it. And I know that it's just experiencing something it needs to. Now, yes, there's a lot of darkness on this planet that harms others. Now, you know what I think about this. This really makes some people go ballistic when I say we're participating in that. We are. When you're not participating in it, you didn't plan on it, you're not supposed to, you'll have protectors around you that are extremely powerful. And the darkness isn't going to put a ton of effort into going after something that's on a super high frequency when it can tackle the lower frequencies in numbers and recruit that. So when you're afraid of the darkness, when you're afraid of the factions or the whatever is going on out there that you're filling your head full of, that you believe, and I'm not saying this stuff isn't going on, you're not serving a good purpose by exposing yourself to that stuff. You're actually focusing on the darkness. So that's why I said you are energy. So if you're focusing on something with a thought or whatever, you're connecting to it. Even if you see it and you don't have any bad feelings toward it, you're still connecting to it. You're putting it in your focus. This is why I tell people, shut the news off. Shut the stuff on that you don't need to see. If it's having a negative effect on you, if it brings sadness, fear, and people love, and they love to talk about it. Somebody on Facebook, they're posting, here's another shooting and here's another. Well, yeah, we know. Why are you posting this stuff? Are you posting blessings to those? A lot of people do those positive, beautiful things, but other people, they love to show the trauma again. As if the world hasn't had that stuff constantly going on. It's just we have media now that brings it to light. Right? People have died in the most horrific situations for centuries, way beyond what we're experiencing now. We just have more advanced weapons and technology and media that loves to put that out there. So, don't create the opening for the darkness. It's nothing to fear. It is the one. It's experiencing something. If you want to participate in that game, you can. You ultimately will go back to the one, and sorry to tell you, but you're going to go back to the light at some point. You're all going back to the light, to the ultimate place of pure creation. These roles that we're playing, we're going to have to give them up at some point. The body doesn't survive forever. Not right now, at least. Don't allow an entry point for darkness because you're seeing it separate and you see it as a threat. You are fearful. Fear is a dark opening. You're going to the darkness when you fear. Fear is a lower frequency. You're connecting to the lower frequencies. And so they have an opening to get in. That's all it is. It ultimately has no power over you, and you can bring in your protectors to call them in. If you feel weak and you don't feel like you can handle this on your own, you call those babies in and say, I need your protection. I'm calling you in. I need to raise my frequency so that I do not allow this in, that I'm not focusing on this darkness, that I'm blessing it and sending it off and focusing on the light, focusing on the positive effects that I can have in this world. So a lot of people I see that there are these ghost shows out there, and because we're fascinated by that. And sometimes they are presented as evil, scary things when they're actually just energetic imprints out there, like the battlefields where trauma has occurred and where energy gets stuck sometimes because, it consciously doesn't know that it can leave, or maybe it needs to stay there for a while to experience something until it decides that it's done with that. Some of them are energetic imprints. There's just a really high energy that was imprinted on that because everything is energy. So a table can absorb that energy. A building can absorb the energy. The thoughts and the feelings, what people project, that's real energy that doesn't go away. It can be counterbalanced. So we're fascinated by this stuff. We always think of the ghosts as evil. They're really not evil. They're stuck, frustrated. Some of them will strike out from a dark side. Yeah. Scary, scary stuff, right? They're coming from a very dark side. So, but ultimately, it's just another energy, not in a body form. It's no different than when we're walking around here, ultimately. It's still energy, so there are going to be those effects that it can have, but not if you're not letting it in. So people go out seeking this stuff. Guess what? You're inviting this stuff in. It is part of us. It's part of that frequency. So I want all of you that have the fear and all of the dark frequencies, the lower frequencies, to understand that that has to be worked on, because those are openings for all of the things that you don't want. I'm not talking about the negative entities coming in. I'm talking about everything. The things that are not, there's no judgment on the other side. It's just, loss or tragedy or poverty. All these things are just, the fear is the darker energy connecting to another frequency that doesn't judge. It just brings it into the physical reality because it already exists. So that's why it's so important to raise your frequency, not to focus on those frequencies, not to participate in it, not to, get sucked into watching it, or it can be addictive. But it's a darker frequency. That's all it is. It's dark. There's not a lot of light showing. It will make its way back, but I'm telling you right now, when you go there, you're creating a space for entry. And that's why a lot of darkness will try to, corrupt people that are pursuing the lightness, that are the lightness. But they'll most of all go after the weaker ones. The ones that are susceptible to their darkness. So it's time to give it up. It's time to give it up. And those who pursue that experience they'll need to go through it in due time. Now you got to remember, the earth is transitioning. And we don't know when that moment's going to come, when we will separate from darkness. So I don't know about you, but I want to participate in that light. The higher dimension of the planet, which will no longer tolerate the darkness. And the darkness will, we don't have those answers. We don't know what's going to happen to those people, those energies. Don't you be one of them. And you will live in a world that's beautiful and loving and peaceful. A higher frequency, higher dimension. And other energies will continue on their journey of experiencing whatever they want to, what they desire to, someplace else. And I don't have those answers, because we think of things as physical, but they're not. There are other dimensions. They may actually be on another planet, another Earth. Earth will split in some way, in some reality. I don't know, and I don't want to try and figure that out, because I don't think anybody has that answer. All I know is we are going to separate those energies at some point. Even though we're one energy, we are all one thing, we're going to separate our realities. Let's put it that way. Our realities will be separated. For whatever reason. I don't know. I think we're just done with it. I think the planet Earth is just done. It's a living being thing. And that's the other thing. Remember, everything's one energy. This is a living being thing. And it's raising its frequency too. It already has. You may be feeling it. Respect this planet, all those energies around you of everything. And release the darkness. What's the darkness? Your negative thoughts. You're giving it power. Are you done giving it power? Are you ready to replace all those thoughts with something positive? You get to choose new thoughts. Darkness has no power over you unless you believe it does. And then you're inviting that. I believe it, then it's going to happen. It's an opening. So don't create those openings. And I'm not talking about, evil aliens or anything like that. I'm talking about just everything on this planet that seems scary or evil. People are so paranoid about each other that they actually attract those problems. So, cast off the darkness, invite light, know that it has no power over you because you get to choose your frequency. And you have other frequencies that are going to come in and protect you when you need it. And don't be afraid of anything. Easier said than done, right? Yeah? I know. But nothing can ever destroy you. Nothing. You can have your faith no matter what situation you're in, no matter what situation you're going through. Your faith is light. And when you break through and you realize that, all of the worry and the fear falls away. And you realize it was self-created. How wonderful is that? And then the world looks differently. You are whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. You are light. You are light. Namaste.